Good morning to everyone in Europe and good afternoon to everyone in China. This is Bernard Mizan, one of the market access advisors at the EU SME Center, and I'd like to welcome you again to today's webinar of the Center and in our webinar series. So again, as you know already, for those that have already been logging into our platform in the past, we have several options in the webinar panel, and one of them is the questions panel, where you can post any questions you would have on today's topic in this webinar. So please don't hesitate to send anything you will have. We're actually a very large crowd today, one of the largest we've ever had, so we will probably not manage to cover all the questions that will be posted to us today. But I'd like to remind you again that you can log into our website, eusmecenter.org.cn, and post any questions you would have after registration through the Ask the Expert function. So in case we don't manage to get back to you, I'd like to invite you to post them through there. As a short reminder to those that haven't known much about our background, we're an initiative from the European Union providing first line of advice for European SMEs in their approach to the Chinese market, and we're doing that through the provision of free confidential information and advice, as well as a number of practical services. We're doing that in a number of areas, including business development, legal issues, standards and conformity issue, questions, as well as human resources and training. And we answer companies' inquiries, and on that basis develop a number of publications which you can find on our knowledge base in the format of reports, guidelines, and also case studies. We also, and some of you know through our face-to-face trainings that we organize in China and in Europe, and we're trying as much as possible to translate these trainings into this webinar series. In addition, we have also a number of databases on service providers, exhibitions, and others, which can be quite helpful as an information basis for you in your approach to the Chinese market. We have also some other services which are featured on our website as well as on the slides you are seeing here. In today's webinar we'll be touching on distribution channels and how to develop a strong distribution channel strategy in China. We'll be touching on a number of sectors, but in particular we'll be touching on the wine industry. You can see here that we've developed a few months ago an infographic which is helping you to, in having the bigger picture on how to actually placing your products, and in particular in this case your wine, on the Chinese market, on which are the processes that are involved, not only on the distribution aspects, but in particular on the customs processes. We will not be touching on these processes in much of a detail today, as we'll be focusing on distribution channels. But I'd like to remind you of this infographic as an interesting tool for you to gain this bigger picture again on the different processes to put your product on the market. We are also in the process to developing similar infographics, so stay tuned for other infographics in other sectors and subtext sectors in the future. As some of you know already, but I'd like to remind you of this also, we have developed in the last few months a diagnostic toolkit which we've dubbed Are You Ready for China, which is composed of 4 different reports on what was from the question of is China on your radar, to the modes of entry on the market, the processes of exporting products, services and technology to the Chinese market, and finally also the first aspects of preliminary due diligence when it comes to finding the right Chinese partner in China, as well as an interactive tool which I hope most of you have tried to use already, which is available directly from our homepage and which is helping you to understand where you stand on your preparation to the Chinese market. So if you haven't had a chance to go through these reports and diagnostic toolkit, I'd certainly like to invite you to have a look at this and link yourself to any other resources that we have prepared for you, linked to the diagnostic toolkit. So today, as I said, we're going to address a new topic that we haven't touched on in the past, on how to navigate China's distribution channels, and we'll have a look in particular at the food and beverage industry, maybe looking a little bit more actually at the experience in the wine industry, but not only. And for this today we have Edward Liu, which is the General Manager of the Shanghai Sinodrinks Trading Company. Edward, welcome to this webinar, and thank you for taking your time today to sharing your insight and experience on this market.
Okay, hello everyone. Good morning. Where Shanghai now is in the afternoon. Good day. Nice to meet you, everybody here. Can you hear me?
Yes, everyone can hear you, Edward. Maybe I can invite you to share your screen also with everyone.
Yes, sir. Okay, so I'm ready to go.
Yes, and actually maybe, Edward, as you're going to share your screen with us, because we're waiting for your screen to
yes,
appear.
I'm already enlarging my screen already. Can you see me, my screen?
No, we can't see your screen for the moment. Did you click on share my screen?
Yes. Share my screen. Can you see now?
We cannot see. We can see it now, but very good. We can see your screen now, Edward. So what I'm going to do is just to maybe gauge our audience today to see what is their experience in different sectors, and specifically on what are the products that they are distributing in China, or that they intend to distribute in China. So with this, the poll is going to be appearing on everyone's screen. So we've selected A, wine, beer and spirits, B, other beverages, C, processed foods, D, dairy and meat products, or finally any other sectors. So I'm waiting for everyone to answer to this question. And yes, I think that we've collected quite a few votes now, so I will close and share with you. So Edward, I think it's quite interesting because, I mean, there is quite an important, well, about 30% of the audience which are looking at distributing wine, beers and spirits on the market, so about a third of them. So it will be quite topical to touch on the wine sector, but also other beverage subsectors. And then there is about 25% of the participants today which are looking at processed foods, and 25% again on dairy and meat products. So I think we have a good distribution of different sectors on today's, well, there is only very few which are distributing other beverages like coffee or, well, soft drinks, only 5%. So with this, I'm closing the poll. I think that will be interesting for you, Edward, to put your presentation in some context. I'm hiding now this poll, and I would like to give you the floor then, Edward.
Okay. So I can start my presentation now?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Hello, everybody. This is Edward Liu. I'm located in Shanghai, based in Shanghai. First of all, I'm very appreciate this opportunity invited by Mr. Benoit for this webinar, and to share my around 15 to 16 years of the beverage and the food import in China. Okay. First of all, I would like to introduce a little bit of myself. I started this business in the year of 1997. That moment was a very early stage for the imported beverage and foods. Thanks for that experience, I started to import for the cheese, pasta, coffee, all the food sectors. and also many wines and spirits and mineral water. From the year of 1999, I was working for one very big wine producer in Italy, Lambrusco. At that moment is is a very competitive and cheap Italian wine. At the moment, today this company still work very great with the China market, especially with the Changyu Group. Then in year 2008, I'm working as a general manager for Meta Design in Shanghai. That moment I was importing for Lavazza, Coffee Lavazza, and also Jägermeister, most of Italian liqueur, wine, and also for the French rum called Clément. Then in year 2008, I built up my own company with the group of Geographical, which 100% owned by Generali Group. Generali, I think you know, is the largest insurance company in Italy, maybe it's one of the largest in the world. So today, Saladrink already 5 years on this market. We focus on the wine, the coffee, and mineral water, beer, olive oil, of course wine. Wine is our core business. Okay, that is my general information about Saladrink and myself. Then today I would like to share, especially to introduce our market in China, the big China, because this moment, as my understanding, the economy in Europe little bit difficult, and everybody gives a big hope to Chinese market. They are very excited to talk about the China market. They think China is a big continental and not a country. But for the wine and also for especially the wine business today, is there a very big bubble on the market? So today I just show some my real experience, the real figures with our friends. Then we talk about the mostly today. I introduce the experiences beverage, especially the wine. If any question about the food, I'm very happy to reply to you. Talk about the wine importer. There are a lot in China. There are about 25,000 importers in China, but even more. That's something official license. I mean, today is many. It's a big number. So, but if you look at the number, the people getting excited. But for the real professional importers, I think it's no more than 10%. Over 90% of these companies, so they're still very less than 2 containers a year, means less than 24,000 bottles a year. And most of these people, they are not professional, and because they have a special connection, we call guanxi, kind of guanxi, especially have some strong connection with the local government, with the government company, so they're able to supply to one client to sell one product to these people. So that is the real business today.
Can I ask you a quick question, Edward? Because I can definitely imagine some of the questions which the audience is asking already. This is an extremely large number. When you have to deal with, I mean, the 90% of the companies which you are referring to, do you get easily confused as a company in Europe, for instance, looking for a distributor, or these 90 companies are not even visible if you're trying to look for them? So my question is whether you will, I mean, whether the 10% of the other, well, the real companies really will be more visible than the others which you are saying, or whether it, and what would be your advice to actually finding the right distributor in that sense?
So I think no matter for the, I give you my experience, immediately you can make a direct contact with this importers, no matter the wine, the beverage, or the food. You know, if we import, we must use the shipping company. Today, you can easily find when you export your product to China, you work with DHL, you work with JAS, with Schenker. So this is a good way. You can find with this shipping company to talk with them. Who's the importer in Shanghai, in Beijing, in Shenzhen, in Guangzhou? That's my secret. So if you approach this right shipping company, they have a huge database. This is something real number they can provide to you. This is one solution. Another one, every country, like French, people, they get well organized. You can to check the information with the importer through SOPESA, through the embassy, through the consulate in different cities. For other smaller countries, you just use my way to check with this shipping company. If this company, they're working with this shipping line or working with this logistics company or not, it's a very direct and a very efficient way. Also today, it's very efficient. You go to the website to check if you can go to Google or to our Chinese Google called Baidu to check what is real or important or not. And also at the same time, we get some very good wine consultant in China. This is the wine magazine today. In Shanghai, I can give some good name if we can write down. This is called Restaurant Review and Wine Press. Beijing, the China food and the wine and spirits. In Canton area called the Wine Magazine. And these people also make a lot of testing and presentation with the suppliers and big importers. If you approach these people, normally you can get the right contacts. I don't know if it's clear to you.
Yes, it is, and I mean, I think your approach is interesting, and maybe if we have some time, we can explore a little bit more into towards the end of the presentation. But please go on then.
So coming to the point, if we you consider the figures in 2011, from 2008 to 2011, they're big number. Everybody is increasing export to China. But because there's so many importers, big number, 90% of this small company, they put it together, make a big number. But this, we don't know where to sell. Most of them, they sell to the corporates, to the private, especially for the government companies. It's invisible. You cannot find one bottle on the market, but they sold. The problem coming today, because we got the new leader, new government, they really limited the government people to spend the money in the food and beverage. They especially affected very seriously this year. So this type of business is gone. And even some big importers, bigger exporter, bigger companies get nervous. Why? In sudden they stop, because that is not really market. It's not a huge market. So it's a really big bubble for the wine and even for the imported spirits. Okay, then for how to introduce for understand better our wine and the imported food and wine consumption area, I'm very happy to share with our consumption, the major consumption cities, and the map, consuming map in China. So the first tier cities as like Shanghai, Beijing, Guangzhou, Shenzhen. So that's the first level cities. We talk about the wine import mostly through these big ports, through this major city to resell to other provinces, to other regions. So let's go to review our Chinese map. Okay. We just draw to highlight. Actually, if you see the map, it's something very interesting. Today, the well-developed areas, well-developed cities in China, you say China is a very big continental, but the consumption for the imported food and beverage just located from the coastal side and the Yangtze River city. This is called the Changjiang Lang River. So it's really like a bow and an arrow. You see, you can start from Beijing, then from Tianjin, we go down to Shanghai, is the east. That's actually the most mature and advanced area for the imported beverage and foods. This is the two very important provinces, three provinces. Jiangsu province, just north of Shanghai, then south of Shanghai is Zhejiang, then Fujian province and Canton. So these four provinces are the major consuming cities and area. So the coastal side city make a bow, because this area, if we go back, we follow our Chinese open policy, 1978, this designed by our great leader, Mr. Deng Xiaoping from Canton, Guangdong, you see, next to Hong Kong and Macau. So the Shenzhen is there, just next to Hong Kong. So from there, we open from Xiamen, Shanghai. So the influence from the south, east, and the north. So that is the coastal side. This area already developed over 30 years. So the people in this area, especially Shanghai, okay, Canton, Beijing, they are used to have more opportunity to have the appearance of the imported foods and wines, because, you know, their first round for the five-star hotel, the 4 restaurants, for example, in China, there are many Italian restaurants, many French restaurants, now the Greek, Spanish. This is also the good ambassador to introduce their own product to China market from these cities. But after 30 years, the seaside cities became very crowded under huge competition. So, as the old exporter or the new importers, they must find a new way. And today, China's economy still kept growing, but it's not really from the coastal side city. Now we go to the Yangtze River. You see, we through the entrance of the Yangtze River is Shanghai, right? Shanghai. Then we go to the west side. They cross Nanjing, means from Jiangsu province. Then go to Anhui, go to Hubei. Hubei, today, maybe you don't know, but if we go back 30 years ago, was the leader industrial city in China. This city called Wuhan is the capital city of Hubei province. Then we go to Chongqing. Chongqing is the really definitely the economic driver for the past, we say, 5 years, even for the next 3-4 years. Then from Chongqing to Sichuan, Sichuan means Chengdu, this area. So to the southwest. And this area contributes the greater development, the growth of the GDP in China. So you see something interesting. So from the west side to the coastal side, the river just like a stream. So for the, I think, and many economists in China realize, for the next 10 years, the Chinese economic growth, the really powerful engine is from this side. Simply because these cities have the logistic convenience, because it's easy to ship the container from Shanghai to Nanjing to Wuhan to Chongqing. So that is the advantages. And also these cities and this province in the past they are very rich province for the, especially for the agriculture. And now because you know the seaside cities, all the manpower increased so much, and many factories move the production down to inland, to Sichuan, to Chongqing, to Wuhan. So, of course, the economy and also the imported products for the food and beverage will follow this trend. So this is something very interesting.
I have a quick question on that, Edward. Let's put ourselves in the position of one European SME that has no experience on the Chinese market. Like if you look at the end of the arrow, cities like Kunming, for example, they are
Kunming, next to Beverage.
Sorry?
Yeah, yes, Kunming. Yes.
So when you're thinking about Kunming, it's one of the forthcoming cities. But then again, as you said, there are also the ones maybe where there are less importers and distributors, and maybe less than in the coastal cities. What would be your recommendation to an SME which has no like a wine producer, for example, which has no experience on the Chinese market? Would you tell them to first try to gain experience on the coastal cities where there is more competition, or go towards more cities like Kunming where the market is still booming but where it's also maybe more difficult to find the right partners?
So this depends on the size of the company. If it's a big winery or big food companies, they have the marketing power. They can make the investigation in China market. I do propose they go to Shanghai. So Shanghai, they can build kind of, they can find one people to work as the brand ambassador or find the consultant company in Shanghai. Because Shanghai is very advanced and well developed for the documentation, for the import, so everything is well organized. It's much easier to import through Shanghai. But if for some small size company, I do suggest go to Kunming, go to Chongqing, go to Chengdu directly. Because these are also other big companies, the locals are very big enough, but they don't have an international experience. But it doesn't matter. Because this company, they have the, the purchasing power. They can, to buy certain quantity. To start from that area, then 2 or 3 years, you can come back to Shanghai, to Beijing. So that is a good way. This is the way of Mr. Mao Zedong, when we built up New China, they built up the base from the countryside, is the end, he take all the coastal side. Also is a very efficient way too, and you can save a lot of economy.
Okay.
And also, I currently to suggest our friends here. In China today, to find the good importers, the fair, some very important fair. Actually every month you can find in Shanghai, Guangzhou, Beijing, like a Xiao Fair, Lao Pruvan also coming to China. But I really suggest our friends go to Sichuan. Every March we get our actually the most important fair called the Chengdu Sugar and Wine Fair. That is definitely the biggest and the most comprehensive fair, mostly for the especially for the beverage and for the foods, the catch foods like the chocolates, biscuits, the candies. So you can find a good opportunity there. But every March, please check the website. You can find it easily. Called the Chengdu Sugar and Wine Fair. Okay, so let's go to the next one. To understand, now I just give an example for the wine, but so food is similar. Wine is something easy to calculate and to understand. To come to sometimes the many exporter, many producer, they don't understand the local distributor, the local importer to put on very high price. They think the price is not competitive as the European. Yes, but if we go deeper to understand the tariff, how it is how it made by the different tax. For example, I just give the wine. If the CIF is 10 euro, so the rate we put 8.5. Okay, today is 8.3 and 8 for the RMB to euro.
So just to confirm, Edward, that CIF is the cost of freight, yes, or?
Yeah. So the cost of this cost on the port in Shanghai or in Beijing doesn't matter.
All right.
So this price, this is the cost to declare the duties before the tax. Okay.
Okay.
So 85 RMB is the end. So the cost. So everything includes the insurance, the freight, this is the cost of the shipping. Then for the wine today, the 14% actually is very low, very low. Think about this one from 120 to 14. When I started the wine business in Beijing, 1997, I remember that is 125. Today is just 14%. Is really little. Then we must pay the VAT. The VAT based on the cost means the CIF and also the duty. So 70%, that is heavy. The fourth is the consumption tax, 10%. So this is what must be the cost of CIF, duty, and plus VAT altogether, then times 10%. Then for the total duty and the tax, you must put the duty, VAT, and the consumption tax, and plus the CIF cost is the final cost. So generally speaking, is around 46.7. This is kind of pure cost of the percentage. But if there are something invisible costs, like the document fee, the ports fee, the charge, the discharge, disloading, all our cost is going to be 50. For spirits, around 70. But for the foods like the olive oil is much cheaper, around the same as wine, like 48. The mineral water is similar as for the food. So the wine is something just in between for your better understanding when you make the cost in China. So to build up the right price structure is very important. This you need all our supplier keep very close with our importers, work out the price structure. Normally, the importers put a very high price, offer the total cost, we say is 124.71. This kind of cost for the distributor, they at least put 50% for the ground distributor. Then the ground distributor, by province, like from Jiangsu province or Zhejiang province. Then this general distributor, ground distributor will make their own sub-distributor, so another 50% to make up. Why is it so high today? We have a very expensive manpower in Shanghai or the first or second level cities. Then another big cost is logistics is really high, sometimes over 10% in China for wine. But for food, it's more complicated. Just to remind our friends, if somebody is a meat business, cheese business, it's much more complicated because of the hygiene, because of the sanitary certificate, and many products still today cannot be import to China. For example, the prosciutto di Parma, Italian Parma ham, as of today, they just only 30 producers are able to export to China because they have to specially to get the license from China. And the cheese also is the same because some material we don't have in China and we don't have the standard at all. So if the food company want to export your products in China, you must understand, first of all, if really China is ready to import a lot. And it still today happen every day, many wonderful European foods to export China, but just simply to block in the customer house because for the hygiene, for the sanitary, not qualified for Chinese standard. For this one, should be very careful. But for the coffee, for the olive oil, the water, spirits are fine because this is really over 10 years, even 20 years. But especially for cheese and the meat, it's very, very complicated. and to be careful. Okay, so when you build up the right price structure, you know, and the importer to know how structure on the market. If the price, you know, this must really need to understand the importer. As soon as they set up the price structure, let them to explain you and support them. Sometimes on the website, they check the price is really high, but not true. That's just to show the fellow clients. But the real deal is really they make a very good price and everybody want to sell. So this is something misunderstanding. Always the supplier complain the importer make a very high price and make a lot of money. It's not true. So this is my country remind.
So on the pricing strategy, am I right to understand that it's very important to work together with the distributor to set up the price strategy?
Yes, sometimes simply for the wine and even the food, the supplier just force the importer to decrease price because something they're searching is the internet. Is just an example. Everybody gets how to shuttle off the wine in China. Well, normally today we sell, it's dropped or not, but still is able to sell for the first level shuttle fee to sell 12,000 RMB. But you go to internet, it's 30,000 RMB. It's all true. If the people really buy, even the sell, sell less than 10,000 RMB, depends how good clients they are. For the internet, only for kind of imaging, branding, and put a very high retail. That is to protect the sub-distributors in the second level or the smaller cities. If you give the bottom European price, everybody unhappy, and in the end, they complain to the importer, they complain to the local supplier, the people don't buy, the big judgment, argument, so doesn't work. Okay, let's go to the food and beverage wholesale. In China, that is mostly for the beverage and also the food. The food a little bit different, but there's a lot of so big difference from these numbers, because this is number is coming from all the big importers. Also with our company, we agree. About the hypermarkets, supermarkets, food and beverage chain stores, online stores, with delivery service. For on-trade, as on-trade is today in China is a very difficult part. Okay, come back to the question before, how to find the real professional food and beverage importer in China? Just to see how much on-trade business they do. If they're able to this on the on-trade business, they're able to list in the HoReCa, listed in the five-star hotel, means they're really, or the top restaurants, even top Chinese restaurants, means they're professional. Because a lot of, to list in this high-level premium clients, there are a lot of contribution, especially the team, professional team. The people are able to import, yes, they're able to make the distribution by their own logistic. The people are able to branding or able to to promote the supplier's brand in China. Then we go to further deeply. The HoReCa normally take 30%, and direct sales 20%. The HoReCa normally we talk about this HoReCa is the 4- and 5-star hotel, but the 5-star hotel are the major consumers. That's the bigger hotel chain like Starwoods of the St. Regis, Sheraton, Meridian, then a large big group like Intercontinental, Hyatt Group. The foreign restaurants, this means very interesting. This most the strongest in China. This moment is number one is Italian. There's so many Italian restaurants in Shanghai, in Beijing, Shenzhen and Canton. Also for our smaller cities, which is located with the foreign production center like in Dongguan. There are many. There are 5 or 6 Italian restaurants. Amazing. But also for some Spanish and Greek restaurants. And also German, especially German is popular. German beer is very popular in China. they make the October 1st in Shanghai, also the second level cities like in Suzhou, Ningbo, this type of cities. Then Chinese restaurants and bar and clubs. But in the future, really to drive the HoReCa business is the 5-star hotel, and for 5 and 4-star hotel, still the leader. But we must focus on the Chinese restaurant. Today, if you go to Chinese restaurant, even some luxury and a very premium Chinese restaurant, they sell wine, but something very expensive wine. And even the quality is really so-so. And mostly dominated still compared to the French friends, dominated by French wine and a little bit Chile and Australia. But mostly go 99% are local spirits like Wuliangyi, Maotai, because that is we have come a different way to enjoy the alcohol drink. In Shanghai, Beijing, so the elegant restaurants like foreign restaurants, 5-star hotel, we enjoy, we explain the climate, we explain the terroir, we drink drop by drop. But for the local restaurants, it's completely different way. They drink, just like cannot say like a tea. They just go to the competition immediately. And the purpose of get drunk, because our culture, if we get drunk as clients, this you are well welcomed, well served by the host. So that is for HoReCa. Then the director 20%. The 20% made composed by the big groups, gifts, corporates, government agency, and private. But I'm rather to say today, for the 20% direct sales, mostly us, consumed by the state-owned company, like China Petrol, China Chemical, China Resource, China Power. So this company, they get, just for example, China Petrol, they got 1.3 million staff in the company. If we just one region, regional office like in Shanghai area, they buy for the office gifts. It's a huge number. Or also for other state-owned company, same. So today the most powerful and rich are state-owned company. But this type of business is not healthy. You know why? Every 2-3 years, they change director. This director, they are changed. The importer or the supplier immediately lost the contacts, and a lot easy to build up a new relationship to continue. So this number is a good number, but it's not the real sales. And this is also the kind of invisible sales. If we go back 2 years ago, even it's bigger than 20%, I think. It's very big. And also even our army, Chinese army, drink the wines, but the new government stopped, fully stopped. So this is for on-trade. On-trade business, you did huge a contribution. You serve the wine to them. First of all, the foreign restaurants and hotel, because they get the food and beverage director, they get the sommelier, also they get the manager. Most of the manager are foreigner. They have the experience about the imported food and wines. They understand. So they are able to design, to build up, to print the nice and well done menu or wine list. If you go to the top restaurants, okay, you get a beautiful menu, but I said there no more than one person you can find the really wine list inside. So, until the business of the HoReCa, the big number in the future come to Chinese restaurant, but we must contribute big efforts to educate the people, especially to Chinese chef, to convince them how to make the imported food or the wine to compare with the local foods. Then to build the good and professional wine list or menu. That will help a lot to introduce to the fellow consumers. Then let's go to the off-trade, the 50%. So the retail takes 30% and the sub-distributor takes 20%. The hypermarkets today in China, the biggest is like Carrefour, then the Metro, cash carrying, Walmart, this supermarket, supermarket in Shanghai. There are many, like a city shop, Beijing, good store like Chinilu. This is something only specialized on the imported food and wine. So if our friends come to Shanghai and Beijing, I'm very happy to propose you go to check the importers and the foods. These are two very famous, but it's a small but a very good chain. They got 12 of city shops in Beijing, in Shanghai, and 14 Jianilu in Beijing. This they focus on imported food and beverage and a good window to show the Chinese final consumer and also to the distributors for our province. So you can find good opportunities here. Then we'll talk about the hypermarket like Carrefour, like the Metro, for the imported for beverage, as it's a lot for the beer. That is the big number. Then wine, only for the very cheap wine. We say cheap wine below €2 for extra works. Even €1 wines, they sell very cheap. So that's able to move volume. But something very interesting is catch up recently 2 or 3 years online shops. This is a kind of future business and also going to develop very fast. And everybody, if you check for the wine, in Shanghai, there 3 years ago, 4 years ago, get one B2B online shop, B2C, called Yes My Wine. If you check Yes My Wine, something very interesting. This kind of a larger, big part to drive the volume in the future. Because today, all the online business driver, they invest also the logistic. If the resolve well the logistic, this will be one of the very core retail business for the front wine. Then some distributors, something very interesting. So the distributor means a lot from the second level cities, especially from the from the Yangtze River side, the stream of the bowl. So these people really can move volume, bigger volume by distributors. But that depends. The very limited products, especially for the spirits, for the wine, because they have less less demanding compared to the fruits for the foods. They are easy to transport. Then the second and the third level cities. So the distributors also a larger bigger part to move volume because these people, you need to educate them. You should grow with them. That takes a lot of time. But sometimes our suppliers don't have much patience to these people because they come to China, they come to today, they want to receive the result tomorrow. They have tomorrow. Not easy. If you find a good distributor with the provincial distributor, to grow with them, and they will pay you very good loyalty, and you get a good surprise in the end. So distributor, which is really can move by volume, also they are increasing a lot. So that's generally speaking for the beverage and the foods for these channels.
A quick question, Edward, on this chart, as we're getting actually already some questions. I mean, this is the picture that I imagine you're drawing from your current experience. Is this something? I mean, you've talked also a little bit about how you've seen this changing over time and where are the future trends. Do you think that online will really grow very significantly? I mean, or maybe without even specifically looking at online, the distribution on HoReCa, direct sales, retails, and sub-distributors, how do you see what trends do you envisage in the distribution of the distribution networks?
So the China is still today developing, even on trade, off trade, both are developing very fast. But online is kind of a new hobby for the young people. The people especially after 1980s. They don't go shopping. They just use the mouse and home to click, to buy the clothes, the shoes, most of everything. You come from the Alibaba, especially from Tmall, Taobao. But this is for the wine is easy. For the beverage, well packed is easy. Only for the very advanced city like Shanghai and Beijing, because of the logistically, it's easy to organize. But for the second level cities, it's really difficult. Simply just a logistic. But if the come back to the beverage for the spirits and wine, actually there is really conflicts. You can get some good volume to the online business, but on the other hand, you lose the traditional market, this on trade, because the price is completely different. If you go to online sales, the price should be very competitive and very cheap. And immediately, the local distributor are very angry with the importer, with the general supplier, because they just low down the profit, give a very big exposure for the price. So, but we can find a way, like a winery, you can prepare two lines, actually same wine with different label. One line go to the online shops, another line you go to the Horeca, or another line also go to the traditional off-trade, go to the hypermarket shops. If milk is mixed together, is bigger confusion and troubles. Only for some famous brand, there's wine like Lafayette or Conchitolo from Chile, but this really suffer from the traditional or on-trade, because the price war, the conflicts. So you must find a good balance. Okay.
I would have a suggestion, Edward, because I think you've got a lot of statistics which are quite interesting, but because we only have a few minutes left, my suggestion would be that we skip some of the statistics so that that we will share them in the PPT that we will share online, but that we move directly to the point of developing your network.
Okay, so the wine and food import data 2012, you just say, I'm very familiar for Italian wine, that's why it's so highlight Italian wine, but that's for most of the top 10 countries for the wine. So you can say from the number, was by volume, by value and volume, liters, by the, also the value, you say 2009, 2011, the growth of each country. So this you can this actually can send to this data to our friends if somebody need. So they can go to deeper, further.
Yes, what we will do is to share the presentation so that this data is also being shared, and I think this is coming from a report from the Italian Trade Commission, isn't it?
Okay, so today's topic, to really to build up the cohesive and very solid network of the local importers and distributors. That is the key point today. So as I explained before, in China, is really the very, very unique market. If our friend think about wine and foods, the world is the same, okay, like the United States, Europe, or also you can put the example in Japan. They make the same way is completely wrong, really. It's have a very similar challenges what you have in your own market, but also we have our own problems and particular problems, which is, for example, I explained for the import. Many countries you can import your wine or your food free, but in China, for the imported food are very limited. You must get a special license from the government. That's something really different. Then for the consuming way, what's the different too? Because the Chinese will have a really very long history, or 5-7 years, drink is our daily life, also kind of hospitality to our guests, but have a different way to drink. You know, I really appreciate European, Western country, Western people to drink wine, to use the food a very elegant way, blah, blah, blah. But when our people to consuming like the beverage products, we say the wine and the spirits. Also, some friends of here, they come to China, they have the experience to the KTV, to the nightclubs. It's different way to drink with a European style or Western style. Okay, like the imperial spirits, you drink glass by glass as a cocktail. Here, you go to KTV, if you go to the club, they just get you know, 3-4 bottles, get a soft drink and a mix and a drink and play the dice. We made play games with even the post with the cards, play the cards, kind of, you know, just to get the kind of thing happy and drink more. The people don't care about kind of a balance or the kind of elegant, so they just drink really a lot. This is something different. Then for the economy, I got many friends from Europe especially. Somebody has never come to China. They just receive the news from the TV, from newspaper, and sometimes just try their imagination. Single China still, you know, something poor and a lot of well developed. But if one day these friends come to Beijing, come to Shanghai, immediately change the attitude. Oh, this thing, you know, in China, every city like Shanghai, like Beijing. That's something from A side immediately to the B side. So Shanghai is just our future China. Okay, if we go to the major cities of the province, they're well developed for the, you know, the basement, the basic construction. But the mind is different. That's still countryside mind. That's still, you know, we are a very big agricultural country, still farmer mind. They don't understand the imported food and beverage completely. If you one people's cheese to some people, they think the cheese is spoiled, it's bad smell. They're not able. So that is kind of economy strange because in Shanghai is more, you know, developed and well developed. The economy is very strong. They're so international, and the people have more experience to try. Maybe first time they don't like, second time so. The third time something is not bad. It's good stuff. So they start. They're not afraid to try. But for our region, the people are very conservative. So this is kind of a wave. And also the gap between the rich and normal consumers. Okay, the rich, they must have money, but it doesn't mean that the rich people can able to take everything. They must understand the culture, must understand more about the European, understand about your products, so they have more opportunity to try.
Hi, Edward.
So,
because we're running a little bit out of time, I think your key message here is that it's really important to invest the time to actually build a cohesive network. Just a second, Edward. Building the cohesive network, and that you have to spend the time spending on that. We have very little time left. We're actually over the time already. So my suggestion is that we're just going straight to the last slide about the Hong Kong as a platform for distribution in China, because I think that's quite an important point, and you had some experience to share on that also.
Okay. So let's go to the final one. So, anyhow, what I must come, you know, to emphasize to understand better our consuming way, to create the consuming environment, much wine or beverage or the foods. Then we should build a lot to solve this problem. You must build up a very stable collaboration with the importers. If you find a red importer, no matter small or big, just go with them, support them, stay a longer time, not 2 or 3 years. You must stay 5 years, 10 years, 30 years. So that is the way to grow and ready to receive the result finally. Then Hong Kong is big Tokyo today, because Hong Kong is really free market, no matter for the food, wine, and also for the financial. every people think it's good to export through Hong Kong and resell to the mainland. Yes, if somebody sell many products of the imported foods, wine, beverage to Hong Kong, that means Hong Kong is a very big market. But this is the wrong number. It's not true, because Hong Kong they just provide a kind of logistic import service, and they also kind of the payment to the suppliers advantages. But the real number is produced by the mainland. So many imports from Hong Kong buy the goods and resell to mainland. So that is because Hong Kong is a very free kind of logistic, zero tax for the wine, very low for the spirits, and also very sometimes there's free tax for the even for the coffee, water. It's easy to get there. But import from Hong Kong, resell to mainland. A couple of years ago, they take a lot of advantages because for this reason. But the law is changing or not, because for the expensive wine, that's made through Hong Kong. Simple. Why through Hong Kong? Because stock is here, because the warehouse is here. Then sell to China, mainland, step by step. That is kind of smuggling, not real imported by China. If you carefully to look for the news, many big companies have this problem. They decrease the price or find the way to smuggle. That's not really healthy to develop. Because for the logistic, for the importer, China, like Shanghai, Tianjin, Beijing, can provide the similar service. So you can just approach the city directly. Then also create a lot of confusion, actually. I'm talking about the problems. The part of the goods. Some products get popular and well established, get the name, built up a regular market in China, mainland, but in sudden also kind of several imported in Hong Kong. That means the problem coming. Hong Kong is a very small city for us. There's just kind of 6 to 7 million people there, plus the tourists there. So the big part of sales is in mainland. So many smaller companies just to import from you, resell to mainland, also the official, but kind of partner goods. That's to be confusing to the ready market, sometimes to damage the well-established market here. So that should be careful. Then for the figures I already explained before. So that's the generally speaking part of the Hong Kong market. And for me, I'm not so hard for Hong Kong as as a service today to sell drink. Even for our company, it's the same. Okay, thank you for our friends here, everybody. It's time to question and answer. So I'm very happy to share this experience. The time is really fly and very short. Hopefully next time we'll have more time to share more experience, go through deeper, more fingers.
I agree. Thank you very much, Edward. I think it's been very useful to share your experience. We're quite over time, almost by 15 or 20 minutes, but still I'd like to raise one question which we've received. In the past we received quite a lot of comments, well, with regard to the advantages on entering when using Hong Kong as a trading platform, because of the difficulties on developing a strong strategy, distribution strategy in China, or some, well, partially linked to the localization of the market, or, well, the difficulties of finding the right distributor. I understand from what you're saying that this is gradually changing. Are there some sectors in particular where you think that Hong Kong is still an interesting platform, or do you think what you just said is cross-sectorial?
Okay, Hong Kong, for some bigger company, if I have the financial support, you can pick up the office there, like the marketing office or the regional office for Asia Pacific, for the logistic to find the imports in China, and that's the good base. But if we build a kind of a company to receive to resell to mainland, I don't see any advantages. Because for Hong Kong, from like our country, if you get products from Hong Kong, simply need to pay the duty. It's the same we import from France, from Italy, from Spain. So it's the same. Wonderful information, service, marketing is fine, but for the trading, I don't see the good advantages, because for we have also in Shanghai and also in Beijing, Tianjin, they are very strong for this type of service.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your insights, Edward. Also, of course, I'd like to remind all the participants today that when there are more specific questions on these issues that we've been touching on, don't hesitate to contacting the EU SME Center with any inquiries you would have. There is also actually a database I mentioned earlier, which is the service provider database, where you might find the right distributor in your sector or other service providers, which might help you in your approach to the Chinese market. We won't have time for Q&As, unfortunately, but we will follow up in writing to the questions we received, but also please don't hesitate to repost them through our platform. Edward, thank you for your presence today at today's webinar and for sharing your experience. With this also, I'd like to thank everyone for their participation to today's webinar. You know that we'll be coming on with a new webinar almost every week, so hopefully we'll see a lot of you next week. Meanwhile, also I'd like also to remind you that there will be a short survey after the webinar, so please, we'd very much welcome your feedback so as to improve the platform as we go. Thank you very much, Edward. Thanks, everyone, and keep tuned on forthcoming webinars and other activities of the EU SME Center. Goodbye for now.
My great pleasure. If any question you can send me by email, I'm very happy to reply. And if somebody needs our support, we can be offer the service for the friends here today to help them to find the right import in China.
Okay, thank you very much,
thanks
Edward.
for your time.
And thanks to you. Goodbye for now. Bye then.